Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 8, Chapter 19, The Revelation, Part 2 of 3. Different attitudes one can show towards God. It can be Madhur Bhav, sweet emotion, as Radha was overpowered with. She saw, heard, tasted, sought and gained only that sweetness, at all times and all places. Raso Vai Sa, divine sweetness is he. She made no distinction between nature and nature's God. It was all God, all Krishna. She felt, experienced, and knew that Krishna was ever present in the waking, dreaming, and deep sleep stages. She realized the truth of the Gita declaration of Krishna, that his hands and feet, his eyes, face, and head were everywhere. Her adoration of God is the supreme example of Madhur Bhav Nama Sankirtan. Then we have the Vatsalya Bhava, parental feeling, Nama Sankirtan. Yashoda, the foster mother of Krishna, can be taken as the ideal for this type of bhava. Though she had a series of experiences of Krishna being divine, she preferred to serve him as mother and to adore him as her son. Anurag Bhava, lover beloved feeling, Nama Sankirtan, is exemplified best and in the purest form in the gopis. They installed the Lord in their hearts, rid themselves of all earthly attachments, and lived only in his contemplation. All thoughts, deeds, and words being dedicated to him. Then there is the Sakhya Bhav, comrade feeling, Nama Sankirtan, as found in Arjuna, who believed in Krishna as his most intimate friend and brother-in-law, for he married Krishna's sister and confided in him as a comrade. This too is an attitude that will attach you to divinity and sublimate the lower impulses. Dasya Bhava, servant master attitude, Nama Sankirtan, is another type. Serve the Lord as his faithful, unquestioning servant. That is the path of Hanuman in the Ramayana. He had no will or wish of his own. His prayer was to be a fit instrument for the purposes of the Master. The name has the capacity to redeem, cure, and save. The last attitude is Shanta Bhav, attitude of unruffled equanimity, Nama Sankirtan, praising the Lord, whatever may happen, undeviated by ups and downs, bearing all the vagaries of fortune as his play. In the Mahabharata, you will find Bhishma saturated with this attitude. He adored Krishna, even when Krishna was advancing towards him to kill him. Another method of Nama Sankirtan is to remind oneself of the various exploits and sports, the various acts of grace and compassion which the Lord has manifested in the world while reciting his name. This is called Leela, divine miracle-oriented Nama Sankirtan. Chaitanya and Tyagaraja realized the Lord through this path. Others recollect more of the majesty, the glory, the might, the mystery, the magnificence, the munificence, the love with which God has clothed himself while reciting his name. This attitude is spoken of as guna, attributes, characteristics, Nama Sankirtan. Most of the saints, gratefully honored in many lands, are of this category. Another category is denoted by seekers who attach value to the syllables and sound of the name as such, irrespective of the meaning thereof. When the name is pronounced, they say, it draws the aspirant towards God and His grace. Whatever may be the bhava, and whether the lila or guna is associated with the Sankirtan or not, the name has a strength, a power and a capacity to redeem, cure and save. Alone and unaided they aver. Rama principle is the Atma, source of all joy. The name Rama was once indicated by Rama himself, son of Dasharatha, the hero of the Ramayana, the incarnation of the Lord in the Treta Yuga, as a potent liberator. When Rama was passing through the forest with Sita and Lakshmana, the hermits who recognized him as divine gathered around him with a prayer and asked that they be initiated by him and given some mantra, sacred formula, which they could repeat for spiritual uplift and victory. Rama replied that he was a prince in exile, wandering in the forest, and so he could not presume any authority to initiate hermits into the spiritual path. He moved on along the jungle tracks. Watching him walking fast, with Sita immediately behind him and Lakshmana following in the rear, an aged hermit exclaimed, "Friends, see, Rama is initiating us. He is awarding us the mantra. God is leading. Nature, his constant companion, his shadow, is following. The jivi, individual part of the Lord, the wave of the ocean, is in the rear. He can see the Lord only if the deluding nature is propitiated or bypassed. This is indeed a silent lesson in sadhana, spiritual discipline. Ra is God, Ma is the individual who has fallen behind. A is Prakriti, nature. Rama Rama is the mantra. He is vouchsafing so graciously. Take it and save yourselves. For me, there is no other course, he said. I am emphasizing Ramanama, the name Rama, because the Rama principle is the Atma. Rama means that which is pleasant and that which pleases. Now, the Atma is the source of all joy. Its nature is bliss. Moreover, as Tyagaraja discovered, Rama is the name which worshippers of both Narayana, Vishnu, and Shiva can adopt. The syllable Ra is the key syllable of the Narayana mantra, Om Namo Narayana. The syllable Ma is the key syllable of the Shiva mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. God is the harmony of all the names and forms. The prejudices and factions among the worshippers of the Narayana form of God and the Shiva form of God are meaningless, because they both represent the one ultimate universe. They are distinguishable, it may be said, by the different divine equipments. They are Shankha, conch, and Chakra, discus in the case of Narayana, and Damaru, small drum, and Trishula, three-pronged spear trident in the case of Shiva. But the conch and the drum both symbolize God's accessibility through audible praise and song. Discus and trident symbolize God being the maker and master of time. Discus representing the wheel of time and the three prongs of the trident, the past, the present, and the future. Narayana is referred to as Hari and Shiva as Hara. Both these names are derived from the same root. Har, to destroy, to remove, to captivate, to attract and to harmonize, functions which God has clothed himself with. Man's duty is to sanctify his days and nights with the unbroken smarana, recollection of the name. Recollect with joy and yearning. If you do so, God is bound to appear before you in the form and with the name you have allotted to him, as you see most beautiful and most appropriate. God is all names and all forms, the integration of all these in harmonious charm. Gods designated in different faiths, adored by different human communities, are all limbs of the one God that really is. Just as the body is the harmonious blending of the senses and the limbs, God is the harmony of all the forms and names that man gives him. Do not make distinctions between different names. Only those who are ignorant of the glory of God will insist on one name and one form for his adoration, and what is worse, condemn the use by others of other names and forms. Since you are all associated with Sathya Sai organizations, I must warn you against such silly obduracy. Do not go about proclaiming that you are a sect distinct and separate from those who adore God in other forms and names. Thereby you are limiting the very God whom you are extolling. Do not proclaim in your enthusiasm, "We want only Sai." We are not concerned with the rest. You must convince yourselves that all forms are Sais, all names are Sais. There are no rest, all are He. You must have noticed that I do not speak about Sai in my discourses, nor do I sing of Sai during the bhajan with which I usually conclude my discourses. And you must have wondered why. Let me tell you the reason. I do not want the impression to gain ground that I desire this name and this form to be publicized. I have not come to set afoot a new cult. I do not want people to be misled on this point. I affirm that this Sai form is the form of all the various names that man uses for the adoration of the divine. So I am teaching that no distinction should be made between the names Rama, Krishna, Ishvara, Sai, for they are all my names. When I know that I am the current that illumines all the various bulbs, I am indifferent to the bulbs which you consider so important. When you pay attention to the bulbs, factions arise, sects are born. Sathya Sai Seva Samitis should not encourage discord and distinctions. They must adore the One, appearing as many, the basic divine which illumines all the bulbs. End of part 2 of 3. World Conference of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations, Bombay, May 17th, 1968.